Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stand Alone. Today, I have the pleasure of bringing Maurice Philogene with us. It's so great to have people from different industries in our presence, people that are experienced. He's an investor, a public servant. He's a managing partner of Quattro Capital. So I wanted us to talk about wealth today, financial freedom. These are all terms, Maurice, that so many of us are hearing. And I wanted for us to dig more deeply into this with your expertise today to help people gain financial control of their lives. That's what Stand Alone is all about. It's not about just letting life happen to you. It's about leading your life, actively participating, putting leadership, making better decisions so we can create the life that we want to live. So welcome, Maurice. Thank you for being with us today. And I wanted to kick this off by, just getting to know you a little bit more in your background, because, often I find that in the beginning of our lives, life is more happening to us. And then as we age, as we gain experience and wisdom, we start to see, I can really carve out my life. I can make better decisions. I can start directing my life and how I want to see it end up. So how did you start off in this journey of, becoming a managing partner of a firm that really helps people to gain financial freedom?
I appreciate that. And I'm glad you asked me for the background, because the background will give perspective. I'm not really a money guy. I am a freedom guy. We are on this planet to thrive, not to exist guy. And when I was 21, I born in New York, raised in Boston, live in DC. My family's a Haitian immigrant family. But when I was 21, I found real estate just by happenstance. And I don't think I was necessarily looking for the money aspect of it as much as I didn't want to stay forever in corporate America, not under my own terms. To be clear, I love working and I love my corporate experience, but I wanted to do it under my own terms. So my background is I was 25 years at Accenture, which is a global consulting firm, 22 years in the military as a lieutenant colonel and federal agent in the Air Force, 15 years as a street cop. Thank you. 15 years as a street cop in DC. That was my way of meaningfully giving back to local community, because I was doing a lot of stuff around the world with the military and with my company and what have you. But all along the way, real estate found me, but more so I found the definition that financial freedom can come from having more passive income than having bills. I was very aware of it at age 21. Started buying single family residences, got up to 35 by 2014. So that was 2002. In 2014, I had 18 paid off, creating a salary, and I knew I was onto something. And then I needed a change, because once your basic needs are covered, and I think that's the point, right? Once your basic needs are covered, you realize that you do have access to live as intended. I needed a new challenge. I moved into multifamily apartment complex syndication and developing real estate overseas. And that's where I sit now. And it all came from a desire to have the ability to do what I want, when I want, how I want it, but it came from a sincere place, not just, just trying to get money or what have you.
I would love to talk about this with you, because you have such a breadth of experience and knowledge, and, being and serving in the military, then being a public servant as a police officer. That's something that's incredible, because your eyes have seen
definitely
so much. And I want to pull off of this. One of the things that I am coming to terms with is that there are a lot of people today that are very misguided. They feel very lost. And the reason for this is because we do have more access today, but it's almost access in the most superficial format, which is social media. So people absolutely want more. And I love what you said about paying your bills, because Maurice, when I started in the insurance industry, I was not looking to get rich and be a millionaire. I was looking to pay my bills. And somewhere along the way, have we lost this where we have gone to this place where it's like, literally like the movie, Get Rich or Die Trying. Like, this is not how this goes.
Yeah.
This might be bad advice. So could you explain to us, because your industry as well as mine, like financial freedom isn't something that's built overnight.
No.
It doesn't come through what most people think, like those get rich quick schemes. So if you could talk about this through your experience, what did you learn in the military? What did that teach you? What did you learn as a police officer that helped you be able to become financially free?
Yeah, so I give the military a lot of credit. And I didn't enter the military because I wanted to. I entered it because I needed money to go to college. That was just, I wasn't used to saying yes, sir, no, sir to anyone but my father, and likewise my mom, right? But what it gave me was discipline, and understanding that structure made a difference. All right, so let me translate that into like regular terms. 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. were my hustle hours for 20 years, always.
Wow, love that.
4 a.m. to 8 a.m. is 4 hours. You do that 5 days a week. That's 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month, 960 hours a year. That's 5.14 weeks of time that you can dedicate to you and your goals. I figured that out. If you add another 4-hour session on a Sunday and a Saturday, or a Saturday and a Sunday, you're talking 2 full months of time created. Mm-hmm. So when people do ask me the question, how did you operate as an executive full-time during the day, police officer full-time at night, military from time to time, and then build a real estate portfolio? Said I created time, and that came with discipline. So that's the first thing. I was defiantly committed to that notion of freedom that I talked to you about briefly, and I was going to do whatever I could to get it, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to give it to you. That's kind of that's the crux of the whole thing. Like the discipline aspect of it is what really got me going throughout the whole journey.
Yeah. And I think too, you also lined up another very important word, discipline and structure. For you to have that, I think is so important, because a lot of us, we're chasing freedom, but I always tell people freedom without discipline and structure will lead to chaos. It will lead to disaster.
Absolutely.
So could you talk on that? Like why, as you help people gain financial freedom today, like what do you do to help impose, and this is a hard word for people to hear, but that's what we need. We need to be imposed upon that you need to have discipline and structure before you ever go after freedom. How do you say that to someone? Because that's almost the opposite of what they're looking for.
Yeah, in 2 words, first principles. Go back to first principles. Go back to what it is that you wanted out of life in the beginning. You remember when you and I were in kindergarten? We could dream. Like it was fun, right? We knew, we kind of had this feeling of what we wanted our dream day to be. And I think adults especially have forgot that. That was the whole point of us. Initially, that was the whole point of us going to work, making a bit of money, investing that money such that we could live our perfect day, or have the framework by which we could live our perfect day. And somewhere along the line, our discipline to get that went away. And it's all the societal noise. It's all the nonsense that I like school, but I don't like the way school is taught in a lot of instances. It teaches us to be employees, not creative in a lot of ways. School's good, don't get me wrong. We need it, but the certain ways that it's taught, I don't like it. So when I do spend time with my investors now, the first thing I ask them is like, what's your goal? What do you want to do? And it's the same conversation, investors, and also I coach people on lifestyle design. What is that perfect day that you want? Okay, what's the personal blueprint you want to achieve that perfect day? For me, it's I don't want employees. I don't want to be held down to one particular location in the world. I need to be able to pick up this laptop and my cell phone and disappear and go to the Mediterranean, where I am typically, and run my business from there. All right, well, how does your work blueprint and your investing blueprint support that? And one of the major things that people have forgotten, or maybe never even picked up, because social media is a son of a gun. Everybody thinks we need $20 million to be free, and that's a bunch of bullshit. You don't. If you have 4 grand of passive income coming in on a monthly basis and you have 2 grand of bills, you are free. You could
Yes.
go live in Thailand. The digital nomads kind of had it right from the beginning, to be honest, right? If you have a certain amount of income and a minuscule amount of bills, you can be free that way. But the other thing is, just outside of the investing thing for 1 second, COVID changed everything. If you can get yourself into a virtual job and that mechanism of which you make income allows you to have a freedom-based lifestyle, and if freedom for you is being mobile around the world or being home with your kids or being able to run an agency like you, Sabrina, then you are financially free that way too. So I have those conversations with my investors on what is it that you're actually trying to achieve? Because this notion of I got to have 20 million in the bank to do everything that everybody's doing, that's not the case. What people want is the lifestyle they think millionaires and billionaires have. But in fact, there's a lot of ways to get it on minuscule, much less amounts of money. But it's certainly better to have money. We need money to do a lot of things, especially if you have lofty goals.
Yeah, this is so important because for a lot of people, it's so misconstrued about
Yeah.
that amount that they need to have. And then, you said it there, like, does your passive income exceed your bills? And just following that simple measure. What do you train people? Because, getting into real estate is so incredibly important because that is a source of wealth for a lot of families. Do you feel that when you are meeting with people, they understand that whole premise of creating that passive income, making it exceed your bills, and not having these grand expenditures? So you're increasing your bills, and then you're never really free.
Right. Isn't that, but I don't blame people.
Yeah.
I blame our commercial system for that.
Yes. We
I
need people
blame,
buying,
yeah,
consuming.
buy. We used to be a production society, right? Think 40s, 50s, 60s. We made a lot of things. That's generally how wealth was created. And now we're a consumer society where if we have a problem, we go buy something.
Yes.
Everything is about buying something. So when I grew up in Boston, I made a post on this on LinkedIn the other day that went semi-viral because it was true. Every billboard told me to go buy jewelry, buy clothes, buy sneakers, buy chains, and get the baller house. Not one ever said, when you go to work, and this is what I tell the people I spend time with, when you go to work, take that paycheck, pay yourself first, systematically put aside 50 to 60% of it. It's hard at first, but you get used to it. Yeah. Pay your future self first. Your future self is your number one bill, not the Mercedes payment, not the clothes from Nordstrom. Your future self should be the number one bill. I'm not talking about not living. Don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun, but if you can get into that systematic habit, and then when you have enough to buy an asset, you go buy it. You do that once or twice a year for 20 years, you end up where I ended up, which is by 2014, I think I was 37. There was 160 grand coming in passively. Last year, I left my last two, sadly, I left my last two employers after 25 years because I chose to get off the career highway at age 46 because there was enough passive income coming in, because since age 21, I had been paying my future self first. I delayed gratification in a lot of ways and set myself up in a position where, I can sit here and talk to you at 11 o'clock and then go for a 2-hour walk with my dog right after this, right? Just the notion of what we should be doing got all skewed along the way. And I try everything, like with Quattro Capital behind me, with apartment investing and helping people, or just helping people orient their current careers and trying to get them to design their life now to be happy. I'm trying to get people to understand that the definition of freedom and success and what they're seeing, that ain't it. I mean, it can be. If someone aspires to do what you've done, which is phenomenal, but you've done what you've done. I looked up your story and read everything. You are passionate about it, but there are people defaulting to climbing up the corporate ladder and then trying to play the part and buying the car and the big house and everything, and they are driving themselves into a position where they're going to still be working in their low 60s. So it's just an interesting dynamic that I have felt over the last 20 years, and I was kind of secretly plotting against it the entire time, building up lifestyle and profile lifestyle and portfolio and traveling to 100 countries and just living along the entire way rather than chasing someone else's definition.
We'll have to spend some time after talking about your traveling, because that's I love that. I'm a
Yeah.
big advocate of traveling and expanding your mind to what you
Yes,
see. I
exactly.
love this.
Experiences.
Let's get into these 4 pillars. Quattro means 4. And
Yeah.
I think when you talk about values and principles, this is something I really just, it's embedded into me, in terms of how we conduct business, who we are. If we're not principled, if we're not making decisions off of that, we're in trouble. We're in trouble for the future. So you talk about these 4 pillars, and I love this. You put people as the number 1 pillar. Could you explain these to us and just break down? You said something that caught my attention, where you said you knew you didn't want employees, but you still are people first.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yes, explain that, because I love this.
Yeah.
I love
No,
this.
I don't want employees. That doesn't mean I don't want to connect with extraordinary people. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
The employee thing is related to my lifestyle and how, like, I had a habit of getting, let's say today's Tuesday, Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. So I would just have a habit on a Wednesday night, be like, you know what? I'm going to Turkey tomorrow. And I would just go to Turkey for the week. I would just go to Turkey for the weekend to see some friends and to read on the Aegean Sea, and I would come back. Well, I can't do that if I have 10 people who I'm physically responsible for, right? So that's just a mental choice. But Quattro was founded on those 4 pillars. The reason I say that is, and to clarify, let me tell you what Quattro is. We're an alternative investment firm. We invest in land. We remodel apartment complexes. I'm testing overseas development right now on my own outside of Quattro, but we may bring it into the portfolio. Tiny homes, mobile home parks. We do a lot, right? And people come first. My mom and dad, I'm grateful to them for making me understand that you have to be good to people. I never want to hurt anybody. And that, a lot of that value system came from the military as well. You have to respect people. And I think the travel too, Sabrina, because I have traveled to so many different places, experienced so many different languages, my empathy for people is very, very high. Mm-hmm. So when we go do real estate, when I buy, I only want to stay in the affordable housing game. I want to help people have a better quality of living. We're talking $600 to maybe $1,000, $1,100. I don't want to go beyond that, because those people need quality accommodations while I can still make money as an investor. So that's how I take care of those residents. Like, I bought an apartment complex in Atlanta. I had never seen something like this before. There's no way folks should have been living in this place. And to know that I brought that apartment complex with my partners up to a different standard. So the rent went from $753 to $890 something. I can't remember what it was exactly. Okay, we made a few $1 million on that deal. But do you know how much better those residents are living today, where they have actual flooring, actual granite countertops? Well, not granite in that one, but actual nice countertops, no holes in the walls, etc. We elevated the standards. That's the people side. Same thing for my investors. I'm going to take care of them. Property. We buy property to generate the third one, which is profits. But you're not going to catch me being a slumlord. I want to stay in the affordable housing realm, and I want to help cities create. The United States is short 5 million affordable housing units to take care of working class people.
Wow.
So if I can get a 70s built apartment complex, which still has puke green stoves and linoleum floors, right? People are like, oh no, you investors, you make all that money. No, if we didn't renovate apartment complexes, Sabrina and I would be living in something that had a 1940s appliance in it right now. It has to be done. Mm-hmm. So I will take that apartment complex, I will improve it, I will generate profits. I am a business, and I have to generate better than average return for my investors who support buying those properties. And then the last part is philanthropy. I do a lot on my own quietly, but from an institutional perspective with Quattro, we support affordable housing initiatives. So, for example, I'm on my way on Friday to Philly to see if we're going to support a veterans housing complex that's coming up in the city. So it's those 4 pillars for everything we do. I don't chase money. I chase impact to people, and money tends to follow. But it's because we're principled and we stick on those 4, and I don't want to do business with anybody who doesn't fit into those pillars.
I love this. You also talk about, you have the saying that every property is a home, and that
Oh
kind of, I
yeah.
wanted you to like just dig into that, and I think this is like just having respect for every single person. When I started in this line of business, I would have to visit people at their home. And it was a beautiful thing because when you were connecting with them, you were in their world and in
Yeah.
their home, and you saw people as real people instead of just thinking like it's a numbers game, which the corporate world really does look at everything as data, numbers.
Yep.
But
It
when you're on
does.
the field, when you're doing the work, you see things with different eyes. Could you express like how that's such a important part of your company?
Yeah.
Just the slogan, because I think it's really important.
Everything. I just gotta chill because I miss being a street cop. I do, because I got to help people and everybody, whether it was someone having a homeless dude having a mental health crisis, and if I could sit next to him or her for an hour and just talk, or the mom who was home and dad is at work and they're sleeping and there's a burglar in their house and you're going in, you're pulling that bad person out. Everybody has something to offer. That's the benefit I had, having been, let's say, street cop, growing up in inner city Boston, being around the world, being in corporate, briefing four-star generals. It didn't matter. Blue collar, white collar, no collar. I've seen it all and been exposed to everything. So when we're talking about people's homes, one, the people who are investing 100 grand as a minimum with Quattro or me, you know how much time and sweat they did and toil to generate that going to a W-2 job? It's huge. It's not money, it's people's time, energy. And when you look at it that way, you're going to treat those dollars very differently. So that's the first thing. But two, the people in the homes, I used to live there. That was my apartment. My grandmother, not my grandma, sorry, my great aunt still lives in public housing by choice. That's where she wants to be because she was there for so long, right? I don't like the conditions there. I don't. She's just very prideful, so she's not going to go anywhere. When we get a complex in, like I just came back from a complex that we closed in Houston, Texas. It needs work. I think the average rent right now is like $650. We'll probably get it up to 1,000, 1,100, but over a very long period of time. We don't gouge anybody. We don't do anything of that nature. It needs so much work, but that's where a mom's going to raise her son. That's where a father is going to take or protect his daughter. That's where a grandmother is going to come and visit. That pool needs to be immaculate. Those lawns need to be cut. Those lines on that parking lot need to be clear. And they should not be walking around that complex that we are touching fearful for whatever the riffraff may be out in the city or anything of that nature. And if so, then I'm going to fix it, even to our own detriment. I can't go give back to people as a street cop and in the military when I was a federal agent anymore, and I miss it. But the one thing I can do is provide affordable housing for good people. Like I woke up today and I know there are 1,800 families out there that are living in a relatively better situation because of what I do with my partners, and that makes me happy. So when I think about investing, I don't really think about dollars all the time. I think about how we're giving someone a good home.
Yeah, and people don't really understand this, but it's as simple as, when you buy a new shirt and you put on a new shirt, it makes you feel different. It's
Yeah.
just like when you make your bed. I know this is a principle of the military. This is
Hell
what
yeah.
I do every
Yeah.
day. I embed this into my children. I'm like, you do not leave the room until your bed is made up, because when
Right.
you come home and you walk into a clean house, it's a different feeling. And a lot of people take that for granted, but that's how you start to build your confidence in life, to start giving yourself that good energy to like take on the world. It
And it's
starts with
human
those little
pride.
things.
It's human pride when
Yeah.
somebody can invite someone over their house and they have nice countertops and nice flooring and the
Yes.
fixtures are wonderful and the beautiful appliances, and that doesn't cost a ton of money in the real estate space. We can do that and be profitable for investors too. So that's why I love the space so much.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm able to do is have amazing conversations with amazing people. And I'm
Mm.
just so interested in, as people do exceptionally well, what keeps them grounded, what keeps them
Oh,
humble, what What is it for you? You know, how is it that you can, drop everything, go to Turkey, do those things in a weekend, but you still don't lose touch with the things that built you? Was it the way that you were raised? You know, for me, I believe the way I was raised instilled something inside of me that the world can't take out of me. And when I look at my children, I'm always so careful with making sure they have this strong foundation. So no matter where they are, like they always can be grounded, really good human beings.
Yeah.
Like what is it about you that makes you stay, the word is humble. I always grappled with this word a lot because I'm an overachiever, and humble is actually a really powerful word. So how do you stay grounded and humble even though you are very successful?
That's it. I think three things popped into my mind, but the first thing is my father. My father grew up in northern Haiti, and with no shoes on his feet, and how he somehow made it to the US in the 70s is beyond me. I don't know what he truly, the full story, he doesn't really talk about it. But my father expressed his mission for me and my brother is for us to have a better life than he did.
Mhm.
He did that, but he never forgets where he came from. He goes to church, he talks about it with his peers, he reaches back to the Haitian community. Like, it's just, how do you forget the root that brought you somewhere?
Right.
So I would
People
be,
do.
people do quickly, but I would be remiss and disrespectful to my father if for some reason I forgot that I came from nothing.
Mm.
It's impossible. That's the first thing. The second thing is the traveling. Sabrina, I've been in Somalia. I've been in the slums of Brazil. I've been in the Finnish Arctic 5 times. I've been high-end Stockholm, Sweden, high-end Gotland Island off the coast of Sweden, where people throw money around like it's nothing. I've been to Monaco. I've spent tons of time in Paris. And then I've also been in Djibouti, Africa, where there is literally no dollars at all. The world is actually made up of people who, probably 90% of people who are below the poverty line, the way that you and I think about it, right? You and I are not the norm. We're the exception. I don't want to leave the norm. I don't want to forget those people. So when I go do my own philanthropy work, personal, not Quattro related, my designation to myself, so I was just talking to someone because I'm going to be in Lebanon next week. When I do something philanthropy related, it has to be something that's going to change that person's decade, not day, not buy them groceries, not whatever. What is it that can change that person's decade? So I just can't leave people. That's why I think I became a street cop. I wanted to be around normal people. And even though I had the qualifications to be a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, even a chief of police because of what I had done in the military, I didn't want it. I just wanted to be with the fellas and women who are in roll call and like break bread, go eat Chipotle together, and then hit the street and then go do good things for good people. I can also go into a room with a CEO like yourself and have an amazing conversation, and let's go impact thousands of people as well. But it really, I think it really genuinely came from those two things. My father and all these travels around the world have just made me a very, very different person, such that I have a lot of empathy all the way around.
Yeah, it's become very, very real to me that, don't neglect your come up, just everything that I have been through. It's like what you were talking about with the roots, and you don't disrespect your roots, because, a tree that does that will eventually topple. And I find that a lot with people. You see people that get quick, fast success, and there's no roots that are really deeply embedded in there. There's no substance to these people, and they get a little bit of money, and what they think is everything. They think they can do it anywhere, but life has a funny way of teaching people lessons.
But they have no skin. And I'm not downing like the Bitcoin millionaires and all that, but I have to tell you something. When I do post, I say, so I post my plan, have a why, get your paycheck, store it, buy an asset, couple the cash flow from the asset with your paycheck, store more, buy another asset, press repeat. That's all I did. And I said, It took me 7 years to have money to cover basic needs. It took me 14 years to have more money coming in than work. And it's year 25 now, and my assets buy assets. You know, the thing about journeys like that versus the Bitcoin millionaire kind of thing, or the quick millionaire, we've developed a certain level of thick skin, and we've developed the resources and skills to be able to protect that money and recreate it if we lose everything.
Mhm.
That's why the lottery winner loses their money in a year. I still follow that basic plan. I'm still generally a humble guy. Getting it quick like that is thank you, social media, for screwing everybody up.
Yes.
It has just jacked up the system, right? We're so instant. Uber, Netflix, getting somewhere quickly, getting a degree online. You can get this degree in 8 months. It's just gotten out of control. You can't, but you don't build the skill set. You don't build the skill set and the tenacity and the grit to actually go through it. So I know if I lost everything today, just like in your insurance business, if you had to go back to ground zero, you know how to build it
Oh, yes.
again,
Oh, yes.
right? That's what people are missing. They
And
get
that's
the
what makes
dollars,
you
but they're missing.
dangerously good.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
No, I love this. You talk about try life on. What does that
Yeah.
mean? Because I like this, but I want you to explain it. What does that mean? What is your goal with what you're doing there?
I am trying to express to everyone that you don't have to do life the way other people are telling you. You can try life on at any time. When I said to you, it's Wednesday, I'm going to get on a plane on Thursday and fly to Turkey and read a book, that's not irrational for me. It's normal now. I do things my way, and I've always done it. In 2019, I didn't have the financial resources necessarily to always travel, but I travel hacked. So I did what normal people used to do before Google. I went to the library and I started reading books around travel hacking. Okay, so in 2019, I went to the Finnish Arctic 5 times. Not even to necessarily go experience it as much as I just wanted to learn about, there's the native Swami people there who like their version of Native Americans, right? It was fascinating to me. So I wanted to go try life on my way, not the way the fellas were telling me to hit the bar on the weekends, not the way they were like, yo, let's go to the football game. I don't mind a football game here and there, but I want to go try life differently. So that's my statement. When I was a corporate executive, I had tried out for the NFL when I was 21. I didn't make it. So I'm like, man, how am I going to do that again? I found a way. I asked them better questions. I gave my company a solution to support, not a problem to solve. I said, I'm going to go back to the NFL. This is the way I'm going to do it. How can you support me? So I ended up in grad school playing football for another shot at the NFL when I was 26 while I was in school. Hey, career, I'm going to give this career up because I want to be a street cop. Why are you going to give up 80% of your salary to go be a street cop? Because I want to do, because it's speaking to me, because I want to do that before I punch off this earth. So I asked them better questions. I found a way to do it. I found a way to build up real estate. I found a way to travel to 100 countries. I found a way in the last year and a half to live and work in the Mediterranean. I put it in my head in 2015. I was running a field office for my federal law enforcement agency in Western Turkey. I love the region. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way. My radar, my reticular activating system, or whatever people want to call it. I heard someone say something in 2020. Turns out that the husband of a college colleague, he's Turkish Cypriot. He lives on the island of Cyprus. He happens to be a real estate developer. I don't wait when an opportunity shows up. I was on a plane and in his living room within 3 months. That was the end of 2020, maybe middle of 2021. We are on our 3rd real estate development in Cyprus together now. You have got to do the things that you want to do. And I'll tie off that conversation by saying, I took the Gary Vee challenge when he said something, go sit your butt in a retirement home for 2 days, go volunteer. There were bangers in that retirement home, CEOs, athletes, moms of 7 people, all walks of life. Not one talked about their title, their job, their money. They all talked about the things they didn't do. all of them. The girl they didn't ask out, the guy they didn't ask out, the trip they didn't take because they were afraid of planes. And now they don't have the physical capability to go do those things. So I am encouraging people to try life on, and there's hacks. Like the way I get up and leave for 4 months is all my mail is virtualized. It's akin to me not wanting employees. So all my mail's virtualized. I see my mail online, I look once a month, and I'm good. So I encourage people to try life on when you're like, no, there's no way to be a street cop, a federal agent, and build real estate and be an exec during the day all at one time. Bullshit. You find ways for the things that matter to you. You find good people that will help you, and you literally find a way to try life on.
How important is ongoing learning to you? As do you just learn from experiences, or do you actively seek out good information from books, from coaches? How do you incorporate that into your life?
I found the library when I was 21. Thank God. And Sabrina, I talk about entrepreneurial depression in a way, because when I was 21 to 35, I was always in the library on Saturdays reading.
I love this. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I did the right thing, because I really caused myself a lot of pain. I should have did a lot more social stuff, but I was so defiantly committed to my own process that I just didn't stop, right? Everything, like I'm at my desk right now, there's maybe 80 books on my desk right now. Self-education is what got me to where I am, not formal education. I'm grateful for University of Virginia and for my mechanical engineering degree, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. But had I not found Personal Finance for Dummies when I was 21 for $3.27 in a Queens, New York bookstore, I would have never found the 2 words passive income. Had I not gone to the library and sat in the Fairfax County, Virginia library in aisle 6, just reading constantly, I never would have found real estate. The books got me to 2014. What shifted was people in 2015. I started self-educating from people. Then I found a seminar. Like, damn, you can collapse time to goals and desires by self-education and building the right meaningful relationships, not networking. That's a bunch of crap. That's business. I'm talking about meaningful How am I already building a home on an island and on my 3rd or 4th development project when I don't know the language and I can't figure out the business mechanism there yet? Because of a person. I probably spend anywhere from 50 grand to 150 grand a year nowadays. I used to do the library, but now I'm doing different things. I need more specific education. Seminars, travel, mentors, doing podcasts like this. Time is money. I want to, because I get to learn from someone like you in a very concise way, quickly. Failures and successes, right? Self-education and building yourself up that way is everything. And one last thing, when they're successful people, they put all their stuff in a book.
Yes,
it's amazing.
True. Yes.
I know you have your book out there. You have collapsed everything that you have done, successes, failures, feelings, emotions, down into a couple hundred pages, and someone can absorb 20 years of your life in hundreds of pages. But what's happening now, everybody just goes on Google and reads a blog. And
they need a quote. They don't even read a blog.
They read
a quote. They read a quote.
And think that they got it.
Oh.
It was always books. It was always books, because people take the time to really get down and gritty with what they're doing. And every successful person seems to do it. So I am constantly in books. So it plays a massive role in my life, self-education.
I love this. I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I think what's so incredibly important, when people are looking to partner up with, companies such as yours, when they're seeking people to set them financially free, what you really have to do is study that person and understand, what are your mental models? You said a magical word there, and you said that you studied engineering. I have a science background, so my mental models are different. So when you read real estate is for dummies. It processed through a different mental
Yes, it did.
model than someone else who didn't have your education. And that's why you're able to like put things together and connect things in different ways. And, you know, I just want to encourage younger people to don't think that you need everything right away. Like people have lived life, and, you know, to get where you want to be, it takes time, it's a process, but surround yourself with good people, learn. And, you know, just, I like to finish with this question often where I ask people, because I believe it is about being uncommon. It is about being rare. And it's kind of matches with what you say about try life on. You know, what
Yeah.
would the world miss if Maurice wasn't born? What would be the void that's created that would be really hard to fill?
You made me smile because when I did leave W-2 corporate last year, I started coaching people on lifestyle design and financial freedom and other things. Creating with the goal of creating lifestyle they don't need a vacation from. I don't take vacations anymore. I just live. It's unnecessary. What they have told me, which makes me very proud and happy, is that I have given them an excuse. I've given them an excuse to try life on their way. When they were so muted by, let's say, their corporate environment, because the path is this way, but they want to go that way, right? I've given people an excuse to leave an office-bound career for a less paying virtual bound career, such that they can travel around the world with their kids, or just travel to the next city and just be available for their kids to pick them up. I'm a brother who does stuff like go to Arctic Finland 5 times. That's not a typical thing, but I pattern myself after my community, but I just do life my way. And I've gotten to a point where my superpower is I don't care. Right?
I get you. I really get you.
I don't care. So, I mean, I think what would be missed is I have given certain people, and I'm trying to do more, and that's why I'm trying this Try Life On movement, an excuse to not have to follow the rat race pattern or societal pattern on competition. You have to be the valedictorian, you have to be the MVP, you have to be this. No, you don't. You just have to do the things that make you genuinely happy. And when you find them, go try it. Go find a way to do it. Go be a street cop. Go be a federal agent. Go be an actor, a part-time actor. Go travel the world. Get on the plane, meet someone in Miami for lunch. Spend the $200 round trip. It's just a bus. Go try life on. Stop thinking it's some crazy thing that only other people can do. That's what I think people would miss, is just an excuse, because I like to that's what I enjoy doing now, Sabrina, is helping people break the system for themselves. So yeah, that's where I exist.
I love it. Where can people find you, Maurice, if they want to learn more about Quattro Capital, they want to learn more about real estate investing? Where can they find you? Yeah, so Quattro Capital is fairly easy. Just Google Quattro Capital, or the website is The Quattro Way, QUATTROWAY, thequattroway.com. Add value investing firm. People invest with us. We get them better than average returns, etc. I like life more. So find me on Instagram. I'm always posting travels and what I'm doing, and my freedom principles about time, financial, geographic, purpose, and relationship freedom. And then LinkedIn is the biggest thing. All the stuff that you and I just talked about, the journey, concepts, hacks, tips, I am constantly talking about it and putting myself out there on LinkedIn. I got nothing to sell except for you can go try life on your way, and here's how I did it. And hopefully this inspires some people, and it seems to be working. That's amazing. Well, thank you for your time today. Yeah.